What's up, y'all? What's good? Welcome to the What Up Doe Show. It's your boy Dame D, and today we are back with another one. We're going to be talking about the Carmelo Anthony case again. We're actually going to be talking about the actual press conference that the mother had the other day. And I just want to bring this to you guys' attention. You have all type of black podcasters and shows that's been popping up. I thought this was a time that we were supposed to come together as one, and come behind, this young man, and his family, and stick together as one. You have so many, black people, painting and tainting the same picture that you have these, the mainstream media and a lot of these white podcasters are putting out here. So I have video and audio of a lot of this, a lot of this stuff that's going on. I want you guys, I need you guys' opinion, your comments. Tell me what you think about that. I thought this was, like I said, I thought we were supposed to stick behind this young man and let the court system, take its place. A lot of our own people has convicted this man already, without the courts even having their say so in it. So like I said, I have audio and video of this situation that I'm going to play. I just need you guys' input. I'm just tripping, but I just need you guys to listen to how this panel is just making comments towards the Carmelo Anthony family. The mother, first of all, the mother who had the press conference. So yeah, I'll get to it and I'll let you guys hear it. It's a damn shame, that we can't stick together as a race, because when the shoe's on the other foot, I tell you what, white folks definitely stick together together when they need to.
Because she's
Here we
fearful
go.
of what may happen to her.
All right. So first off, I want to say, if any of those things, if that's true, my heart goes out to those children and that family, because regardless of what the son did,
Right.
whether it's defense or not, you can't stop or help what your kids do all the time. So my heart goes out to that family, and people should not do that.
Let me pause this. And these are, this is a panel full of, for the black people up here. It's a shame how they're attacking, the mother of Carmelo Anthony. Just listen to this. I couldn't believe this when I heard this.
First thing she should have came out of her mouth when she hit that podium was, "I am sorry for your loss."
Mm-hmm.
That is what.
See, and this is another thing that gets me upset. She actually did, give her sympathy to the family. She didn't have to do it when you guys figured she needed to do it in the beginning of her speech. She wanted to get the things that she wanted to get across, and then she addressed it, her sympathy for the family of Carmelo Anthony. She even said that she felt sorry and that this was a tragic situation. So you got a group of black women up here, just trying to just turn this situation into something that it's not.
And it didn't hear it, and she didn't say anything about it till 30 seconds before the speech ended. And that's where she was wrong. I feel like they should not have said anything. This press conference, for me, made it 10 times worse. 10 times worse.
I always look at political theater as theater, right? So they had her casted well, limited makeup, messy hair, rough throat. Instead of his father speaking, the mother, and she was going to give this heartfelt, crying mother kind of feel to this presser. But what it came off as is poor old me, poor old us. Oh, it doesn't matter that my son killed your son. It doesn't matter that this whole thing has blown out of proportion. But my 13-year-old daughter has a problem sleeping. My husband had to leave his job. Me, us,
okay, I'm pause that. See, and this is exactly what I was talking about. This whole panel right here ought to be ashamed of themselves. That they're attacking his mother for speaking her thoughts on what she thought, on not what she thought, but what her family was going through at this difficult time. You know what I mean? It's like they're trying to blame the mother for this situation. You know what I mean? Only thing she's doing is just being a mother, and a wife. You know what I mean? And they're attacking this woman, saying things that you know, that they wanted her to say, you know, just because she didn't say, you know, in the beginning of her speech, condolences to the Metcalf family. She did say that. She said it at the end of her speech. Like I said, she said what she wanted to say that was interfering with her family's life and you know, upgoing. You know what I mean? Just their livelihood, I should say. But here we go.
Not one mention till the very end
Right.
of the child who lost his life. Now, imagine, if you will, the shoe on the other foot. Imagine, if you will.
See, and that's crazy. Majority of all these cases that we see that's racial, the shoe is always on the other foot. It's normally a black man that's being murdered, and it's always the other way around, that we're not getting fair cases. So the shoe is always on the other foot.
That Austin had survived and Carmelo had died, and that grieving white mother stood at that microphone and didn't say Carmelo's name, there would be t-shirts printed, BLM would be burning stuff. You wouldn't have to worry about a CVS receipt because they
See, and I'm gonna have to pause this again. That's a damn shame, and that's a lie. You know, because we see case after case where, you know, you have white people, white police officers that are murdered, you know, black men and women, and you didn't hear any of the families having sympathy for these men and women that was murdered. You know what I mean? So what are they? I can't even believe that they up here even saying this bullshit. You know, they're worse than the freaking mainstream media. You know, basically what they're doing is they're setting a precedent for the unselected jury. You know what I mean? So now the jury can even see black people that's against Carmelo Anthony, and that's what's going on. You know, so this is even more that we need to get behind the Carmelo Anthony family and support them. You know, you even have blacks that's not supporting them, and that's supporting the Metcalf family. You know, this is a shame, but I'll go ahead with the video.
They would have burnt that thing down to the ground too. At some point, we've got to get beyond race and start looking at this as two kids who went well off.
It'll never get beyond race, you know, because you have it's always going to be a racial thing when you have a black person and a white person that has conflict, you know, and that's going to cause it to be a racial thing. So people can stop saying that. It's always going to be a racial thing when you have a black person and a white person that had conflict.
What it should have been. That's the problem, not this. I'm sorry her 13-year-old daughter is having a hard time. It's got to be horrible living in the shadow of this crime for that entire family. It's also horrible for the Metcalf family. His twin is dead. Mm-hmm. That's something he's going to carry all of his days. Yeah. She'll get over it.
See, and what's so crazy, the other twin could have been dead. You know what I mean? Because from what we heard was they both tried to remove him and both surrounded him. So, you know, I can't wait till all the rest of the evidence comes out, you know, because a lot of these people are probably going to be upset, you know, and mad, you know, if it goes the other way around, you know, and I can't wait to see the faces on a lot of these people, you know, if it don't go exactly, like how they think it's going to go.
I don't mean that in the harshest way, but she's 13. She's got a lot of life ahead of her, right?
Wow.
This kid lost his twin. No matter what he says, no matter what he does, that's never going to get better. It's never.
You know, and I agree with that, you know, and like I said, you know, it's a lot of black people out here that's showing remorse and sympathy for the Metcalf family. No one wants to lose a child. You know what I mean? Well, you know what I mean? But what these people are feeling, and what a lot of people is feeling and realize is that, you know, these young men started this situation. This young boy didn't go into that tent starting trouble. This young man wasn't parading around with a knife, you know, asking for trouble. You know, they approached him. You know, it's called conflict resolution. You know, if you ask this young man to leave and he did not leave, that's when you should have went and got someone with authority. You know, they chose and took it upon themselves to be able to approach this young man. And that's when this situation jumped off, you know, because it would have never went to the left if he would have not approached him. Who gives him the authority, you know, to be able to tell him that he had to go? The only thing this young man was doing was just trying to take cover from the rain.
We're going to get better.
Right. I really expected from one mom to another for her to give some sort of heartfelt connection to.
Which she did. It was at the end of pretty much at the end of her speech. She didn't have to give it like how this panel thinks she should have given it. She spoke what was on her heart. You know, she spoke what she had written down. She actually made it known that she had sympathy, you know, and she spoke about that, you know, and like I said at the end of her speech. So, you know, I don't know what this panel was sitting up here saying. You know, they're just trying to make something out of nothing is what they're doing, and what they're doing is trying to taint the jury's mind is actually what they're doing.
The deceased mother to try to connect and tone down or bring down a little bit of the tension and the temperature surrounding everything. But instead, we saw them turn everything inward and kind of make it about them. And it's to me, this.
Well, that press conference was about them. You know, that's why she came in to speak about what was going on, about the death threats that they were getting, you know, about the her husband's jobs, information being released, her daughter can't sleep at night because she's worried about what may happen. You know what I mean? It was about them. This is idiotic.
Is reflective of what we typically see in our community. It's this huge lack of accountability. Another aspect of this that really bothered me is, why is the man standing there and not saying nothing? Like, I'm trying to figure out, is that the daddy or is that her husband? I am so confused as to who he is and why he stood there like a weak little jellyback.
See, and wow, now they're getting ready to attack the husband. You know, what was wrong with the mother? Someone on the softer side, you know, explaining what's going on to their family. You know, she also stated that her husband was going through, you know, a mental situation, you know, so maybe he wasn't in the best position to be able to speak, you know, and she was well spoken. She said everything well spoken and she said all the right things, you know, so I don't even see why you guys are even discussing this topic.
Soy boy, and let that woman speak on behalf of the family. Are you in charge or is she running things? Right. That was my first observation. But then two, like Nicole, I'm with Nicole, and I'm also alongside with you, KJ. I don't believe that the siblings need to suffer for what their older brother has done. Well, not allegedly. We know we did it. I think we need to leave the babies out of it. Leave the children out of it. But my thing is, if these threats have actually happened and they are credible, I would love to know, did they file a police report? Can we hold those people accountable? Because that too is also wrong. But three, why is it that she waited to the end to say, and by the way, we're sorry for your loss? As if.
And you see, and they keep talking about that. Like, what's the big issue about if she said it at the beginning of her speech or at the end of her speech? You know, the main point is that she showed sympathy and for the family of the Metcalf for their loss. You know what I mean? So really, they're just nitpicking and they're trying to taint the Carmelo Anthony family as, you know, as a bad family, you know, and that's all what they're doing. They're working with the mainstream media is what it seemed like they're doing.
It's reflective of these parents, you know, the parents that come up to the school when they've been told that their child did something wrong. And the next thing you know, the parents want to fight the teacher. Not held accountable because of the lack of submission to authority. This whole press conference, these people dry snitched and told so much about themselves and their character or lack thereof, because it demonstrates a high level of a lack of wisdom that they put this little pulpit pimp, Demetrius, what's his name, Dominique.
Wow, I can't believe they call and who they're talking about is the activist that was brought in to make sure that and he's not even hired by the family. He's brought in, I believe, through the state to make sure that Carmelo Anthony would have a fair trial and a fair shake at this case.
Dominique Alexander.
Dominique Alexander. Like, I'm like, did you not do any due diligence to determine if should he really be speaking for us, because it ain't looking too good.
Nope.
There's too many red flags surrounding this family. And hear me clearly, I am not trying to minimize the pain that they are experiencing, because they got to grapple with the fact that their son stabbed someone to death.
Right.
But their response to this lacks humility, it lacks contrition. And to me, they are the ones that can truly control and bring down the rhetoric of racism and all of that, but they don't want to. They want to
see, and that's crazy. How can they bring down how can they relax the racism by saying anything? You know, they spoke their piece. Actually, they haven't been saying anything. You know, the other day during the press conference was the first time that you heard anyone speak out from the Carmelo Anthony family. So, I mean, this is absurd. You know, that this panel is even saying this bullshit.
stoke the flames of it, because they want to use it to their advantage and make sure that the country views the Carmelo individual as the victim, the poor little black boy.
And just like how in the beginning, before the Carmelo family even spoke out or had a press conference, the mainstream media, and you had all these white bloggers, like you have these black bloggers trying to paint a picture that Carmelo Anthony was a thug, you know, pretty much just trying to make him look guilty in the eyes of the jury before they're even selected. You know, I need for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Tell me what you think about this panel. Tell me, do you think they're wrong for, you know, the things that they're saying about the mother, about the activist that was in there to make sure that this family is getting a fair shake and a fair deal. It's a shame, like how, most of our people do not want to stick or even try to stick together, for causes even like this, because like I said, our counterparts, they're going to stick together whether they're right or wrong. You know what I mean? And we just don't do that, at all. That's why, we're in a situation that we're in now, because we don't stick together as a group. We've been divided by the mainstream media, and these white bloggers. Now you have also black bloggers that's jumping on the bandwagon of the mainstream media, and have already pretty much counted this boy out and just gave him a guilty plea already. Not guilty plea, but just making him look guilty already by the comments and the things that they're putting out here on social media.
But it can't catch a break in this country because everything is racist.
What were your thoughts when you heard her? And did you notice that the husband didn't say anything? Did that ring odd to you?
Meet the new standard in sleep.
Okay, so
this is Pod 4 Ultra.
I'm gonna pause this for a second. It looked like it went to a commercial. I don't know why I did that.
Was that who that was? Because I didn't know who that guy was in the background.
See, now he's being
I
an
think
asshole trying
when
to
they
say
showed
that. You knew that
all
was the
of
father.
the family pictures, he was in the photos with them. I think it was the dad.
That's the dad?
I think so.
Do you know the problem with this whole
So
thing
I'm
is
going
we
ahead
don't
and
know
pause
who's
this
who.
and come
Again,
out,
it looks
and
like
I'll
a
do my commentary on this and go ahead and end it. You know what I mean? I just wanted to show you guys how we don't stick together, as a group, right or wrong. Like I said, white people stick together, whether they're right or wrong, for a cause, and we can't even do that. We can't even get behind this young man and his family, and let the court system play out. They've already convicted this young man. Like I said, I need for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Tell me, what do you think about, all these black bloggers coming out, pretty much trying to taint and paint a guilty verdict in the eyes of the jury of this for this young man. I need to know you guys' opinion. Tell me, what do you think? Do you think these guys were right? Do you think they had any truth behind what they're saying? Do you think they were wrong for how they had tried to attack the mother of Carmelo Anthony and the father of Carmelo Anthony? This has been another one. It's your boy Dame D, and we are out. Peace.